Ever wonder how we figure out if these AI brains, like behind ChatGPT, are actually any good?
Yeah.
It's a question that's getting a lot of attention these days.
Right.
And today we're going to dive into a fascinating new development, AI judging other AI.
Wow.
You heard that right?
Yeah.
We'll be exploring a technical report from the brilliant minds over at the Shanghai AI Laboratory.
Okay.
They've created something called CompassJudger-1,
Interesting.
and it might just change the game when it comes to evaluating these powerful large language models.
It's a really fascinating area of research because, until recently, we relied so heavily on humans to judge these AI models,
Yeah.
especially when it came to these subjective things like, is the AI's response helpful? Is it creative?
Right.
That takes time. It's expensive. And let's face it, humans can be a bit inconsistent.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk about these large language models, or LLMs for short. They're essentially the engines behind a lot of the AI that you're seeing. Pop-up chatbots, text generators, even some of these creative tools. They're learning to write code, translate languages,
Yeah.
but figuring out if they're any good at these tasks.
Yeah.
That's the tricky part.
Exactly. And that's where this new research comes in. The Shanghai AI lab team has created CompassJudger-1,
Okay.
and they claim it's the first of its kind. An open source AI model designed specifically to judge other AI.
Open source. So that means anyone can use it and study it, right? Why is that so important?
It's huge. Open source promotes transparency, and it allows the research community to really collaborate and build upon each other's work.
Yeah.
We've seen other open source judge models like Critique LM and Prometheus, but they've been kind of limited to very specific tasks.
Okay.
This CompassJudger-1 is aiming to be a much more versatile judge.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. What can this AI judge actually do? What kind of tasks can it handle?
Well, this new model is designed to be like an all-in-one judge. It can
Okay.
do things like score AI responses, compare different models head-to-head, and even provide detailed critiques.
Wow.
Almost like an AI writing coach. It can even handle other tasks beyond judging, kind of like how the big commercial models like GPT-4 can wear multiple hats.
So how do they even teach an AI to judge another AI? What goes into that training process?
Well, think of it like this. We're training CompassJudger-1 to recognize patterns and make judgments based on the data that it's fed.
Okay.
And the researchers used a really interesting mix of 3 different types of data.
Let's break down that recipe for an AI judge.
Yeah.
What are the key ingredients here?
First, they took publicly available data from previous judging efforts.
Okay.
There's a lot out there, but it needed some refining. Think of it like taking a bunch of rough drafts and having a top editor polish them up and organize them.
Yeah.
Then they added in data from their own research using diverse question types to challenge the model.
So a bit of crowdsourcing and some in-house expertise. Interesting mix. What's the third ingredient?
The third element is what we call reward data.
Okay.
This is the simplest type, basically just saying Model A is better than Model B. It's a good starting point, but too much of it can make the model's judgments less nuanced.
And that makes sense.
Yeah.
You can't just feed an AI judge a bunch of black and white answers if you wanted to develop a sense of, well, good judging.
Exactly. It's like the difference between memorizing facts and learning to think critically.
Yeah.
And here's where things get even more interesting. The researchers found that too much of this reward data actually made CompassJudger-1 worse at providing those detailed critiques.
Now that's a bit counterintuitive. Why would that be?
It seems that being bombarded with simple A is better than B judgments actually hindered the model's ability to explain its reasoning and provide more complex feedback. It's almost like those simple judgments were crowding out the development of its critical thinking skills.
Makes you wonder if there's a parallel to human learning there, doesn't it? Maybe relying too much on rote memorization can sometimes stifle our ability to analyze and think deeply. But let's get back to our AI judge. How do we know if CompassJudger-1 actually lives up to the hype? How do you even test something like that?
To put CompassJudger-1 through its paces, they needed a benchmark specifically designed for judging the judges.
Okay.
Enter JudgerBench,
Ooh.
a clever 2-part evaluation system that puts these AI models to the test.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Yeah.
Walk me through this JudgerBench system.
The first part, which they call the arena component,
Yeah.
focuses on how well the AI judge aligns with human preferences.
Okay.
They took data from popular LLM arenas, places where humans vote on which AI response they prefer, and use that to see if the judge was making similar calls.
Gotcha.
It's a head-to-head test of, does the AI agree with what real people think?
So that's one way to measure it.
Yeah.
But judging is more than just saying A is better.
Right.
What about that critique aspect we were talking about? Does Judger-Bench address that too?
Absolutely. That's where the second part, the benchmark component, comes in.
Yep.
This one is all about testing the AI's ability to follow specific instructions and offer insightful critiques. They used established benchmarks that focus on subjective evaluation, challenging the model to really demonstrate its judging skills.
So it's testing not just the judgment itself, but how well the AI can explain its reasoning and provide constructive feedback.
Right.
I like it. And they compared all this against a gold standard, right? Wasn't it GPT-4?
Exactly. They used GPT-4, one of the most advanced large language models out there, as the benchmark. So
Right.
the question was, how close could CompassJudger-1 and these other open source models get to matching the performance of this top-tier AI?
All right, let's get to the results. Did this CompassJudger-1 pass the test? How did it stack up?
It not only passed, it exceeded expectations.
Really?
CompassJudger-1 outperformed all other open source judge models on JudgerBench. But here's the kicker. On those complex tasks, the ones that tested its ability to follow instructions and provide critiques, it achieved over 95% of GPT-4's performance.
Hold on, 95%. That means that this open source model is nearly as good as the gold standard GPT-4.
Right.
That's a huge deal. What else did they learn from all this testing? Any surprises?
One of the most interesting findings was that some models were really good in one area, but completely fell apart in others.
Oh, wow.
It showed a real lack of versatility, which has been a problem with previous judge models.
Yeah.
But CompassJudger-1 was much more balanced, scoring well on both matching human preferences and those more complex judging tasks.
So it's not a one-trick pony. It can handle a variety of judging styles and tasks. This is fascinating. Anything else that stood out in the results?
One thing that caught my eye was that CompassJudger-1 performed particularly well in areas like math, reasoning, and code.
Interesting.
It suggests that those skills might be especially important for good judgment, even for an AI.
Interesting. It makes you wonder if those are fundamental skills for making sound judgments, regardless of whether it's a human or an AI doing the judging. But I'm curious, what are the implications of all this? If AI is getting good enough to judge other AI, what does that mean for the future of these technologies?
That's a big question, isn't it? Are we heading towards a world where AI is constantly learning from and improving upon itself with less and less need for human intervention?
It's certainly a possibility.
Yeah.
And it could lead to some pretty incredible advancements. Imagine the speed of AI development if we can kind of automate this evaluation process.
Right.
We could see breakthroughs in all sorts of fields.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling to think about how quickly things could progress. But of course, we have to consider, the direction of that progress. Better AI, but better in whose eyes?
That's a crucial point. Even the best judge models like CompassJudger-1 are ultimately trained on human judgments.
Right.
It's still us, at least for now, we're setting the standards for what constitutes good AI.
That's right. And the researchers are very aware of that.
Yeah.
They acknowledge that there's still a lot of work to be done in terms of refining those human judgments and making sure they're as fair and unbiased as possible.
So even with these incredible advancements, we're not off the hook just yet when it comes to our responsibility in shaping AI development. But even with those challenges, it seems like models like CompassJudger-1 are a real step forward.
Absolutely. And the potential applications go far beyond just evaluating AI. The researchers are already exploring how these judge models could be used to actually help other AI improve.
So instead of just grading the AI's homework, these judge models could actually become AI tutors.
Exactly. Imagine an AI that can not only assess another AI's performance, but also pinpoint its weaknesses and offer specific guidance for improvement. It could revolutionize the way we develop and train these systems.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like having a personalized coach for your AI, helping it to learn and grow much faster. What other exciting possibilities are they looking into?
Well, here's one that I find particularly fascinating. You're investigating whether training and judgment tests actually enhances an AI's overall capabilities.
Wait, you're saying that learning to be a good judge could actually make an AI smarter in a broader sense?
It's a hypothesis they're putting forward.
Yeah.
Remember how CompassJudger-1 showed particular strength in areas like math, reasoning, and code? Well, they're wondering if those skills are actually intertwined with its ability to make sound judgments.
So maybe learning to analyze and critique information in a nuanced way, the kind of skills you need to be a good judge, could actually improve the AI's ability to process information in general. That's a pretty wild thought.
It is, and it could have major implications for how we design AI training programs in the future. If we want to build AI that can truly understand and reason about the world, Maybe we should start by training them to be good judges.
This is all incredibly exciting stuff. It seems like this research is opening up a whole new chapter in the development of AI.
It certainly is. And the fact that they've made CompassJudger-1 open source means that anyone can contribute to this next chapter. Researchers, developers, even just curious enthusiasts, we can all experiment with this model, build upon it, and see where it leads.
It's a great example of how open source can accelerate innovation and democratize access to these powerful technologies. But I have to ask, we've talked about AI judging other AI, but it all still kind of boils down to matching human judgment. What happens as AI becomes even more sophisticated? Could we reach a point where AI judgment actually surpasses our own?
That's a question that takes us into some deep philosophical waters.
Yeah.
It really gets us thinking about what we even mean by good judgment in the first place.
It's like, is it even possible for an AI to develop a sense of ethics or values that goes beyond what we've programmed into it?
It's a fascinating question. We're already seeing AI systems that can process information and analyze complex situations much faster than any human could.
So could they potentially arrive at conclusions that are more logical, more objective than what we humans might come up with?
It's certainly conceivable. But even if an AI could make more objective judgments, we have to remember that our human values and goals will always play a role in shaping these systems. We're the ones who design them, train them, and ultimately decide how they're used.
So even if AI surpasses us in certain areas, it's still a reflection of our own priorities and the choices we make. It's a powerful reminder that we have a huge responsibility to be thoughtful about the values we're embedding in these systems.
Absolutely. The future of AI is a future we're all creating together.
Right.
And open source research like this is vital because it encourages transparency, debate, and collaboration from a diverse range of perspectives.
It's like we're all collectively figuring out what kind of future we want to build with these increasingly powerful technologies.
That's a great way to put it. The more we understand about how these AI judges work, the better equipped we'll be to navigate this exciting but uncertain future.
Well, there you have it, folks. We've gone from judging AI in a figurative sense to the very real possibility of AI judging itself, and maybe even exceeding our own abilities in the process. This research from the Shanghai AI Laboratory has opened up some truly profound questions about the nature of intelligence judgment and the evolving relationship between humans and AI.
And if you're as intrigued by all this as we are, we encourage you to check out CompassJudger and JudgerBench on GitHub, dive into the research, explore the code, and maybe even contribute your own ideas to this rapidly evolving field.
Because ultimately the future of AI is a future we're shaping together. And that's a wrap on our deep dive for today. Until next time, keep those minds curious and those questions coming.